It's wild.
Anyways, so do you have a question for me this week for on the mat? Last week
So
we
I
talked about,
actually have a comment from the mat.
yeah,
Usually
okay.
I have questions for Helen, like, Helen, I fell out of my tree. And Helen, gives me a second to explain. And I'll say, Helen, how come I can't hold the tree pose? And last week I was like, I've been doing yoga for a while now and I still can't hold the tree pose. This week it's more of a comment, and it's the value of having large margins of error. So I'll give you an example. Like in the Midwest, they say we have two seasons, winter and construction. So have the orange barrels come out in Halifax? Because one of the things I tried to maintain, despite the pandemic, is the daily habit. So even though everyone's working from home, healthcare workers have to go to work. And I didn't change the fact that my commutes take an hour, even though they don't. Like now it's reduced. I'm so glad I didn't, because the orange barrels came out. And I think it's about 11 cities are affected from my house to the hospital in Detroit. So that's my big takeaway this week or this month has been, like, give yourself large margins of error. So I asked Helen how she feels about going back to the gym. How do you guys feel about going back to the gym or the yoga studio?
I'm actually scheduling myself to teach in
Good.
studio starting April 1st
Okay.
because of what's happening now and the low cases. Um, I'm still teaching mostly all online, and I'm going back in April. So I'm starting to feel a little more comfortable to go back to studio. I'm still taking, measures and everything, and encouraging people to register online for the in-studio classes, which is still mandatory at the studios,
Yeah.
and everybody can still take the classes online. So yeah, I feel more comfortable coming up, like as the next few weeks go by. I'm going to be like, okay, let's see how things go, but at the same time, you never know, things might change in a week
Yeah.
and we might decide, let's just not April 1st
Yeah.
or something. But for now, it's
Yeah.
kind of a play it by ear.
Yeah. My other margin of error was not returning back to the gym. I miss my yoga class. I miss my spin class because I do like YouTube yoga with Adrian, and I'm still on the 30-day yoga challenge from like 3 years ago. I think it's the Breathe challenge.
Mhm.
It's okay. Like I didn't get to do yoga this week. It's not the end of the world. Like, some days you just need big fat margins of error because life just throws you some curveballs. The only question I have is regarding the curveball.
Mhm.
I've officially hit old lady age because I invested in some icy hot. I think I'm gonna buy stock in icy hot. Like I hurt my knee trying to find Cal's toy under the sofa, and Cal is my dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
So, question is, can you recommend some yoga poses to strengthen my knee
Okay.
that doesn't involve like child's pose,
Mhm.
and especially child's pose,
Mhm.
or a deep goblet squat? Um, any thoughts, Helen?
Yeah, standing,
Just
mounted.
to stand. Okay.
Just stand and really root your feet down and activate
Okay.
your thigh muscles. What
Okay.
happens is when you strengthen the muscles that surround your knees, whether it be strengthening well, mostly your quads, your upper thighs, um, and your muscles behind your knees and below the knees too, your calves.
Okay.
Anything that strengthens those areas would be mainly balance postures or any other standing postures. It's another one. I mean, when you want to look at balance poses, the classic tree pose, as you had mentioned, is really
Okay.
good for stabilizing your hip muscles, as
Hmm.
well as you're strengthening the muscles around your knees. for you
Okay.
to stand.
Okay.
So standing postures, there's a plethora of standing postures out there that you can work on. And you also not only look at strengthening, but also finding some restoration for the knee so that it's
Okay.
not as congested, because usually at the acute level of recovery, like say you're feeling something, you want to be able to make it swell less so that you want to do the strengthening, right?
Yeah.
I would recommend anything that elevates your legs, such as legs up the wall. That's one that's really good, where you don't have to use any strength, but what it does is you want a balance of letting go of congestion in the knees. That's the only way I can describe it. Usually when there's issues with the knees, there may be issues with the feet or ankles as well.
Okay.
So something to consider: 5 minutes, 3 days in a row,
Okay.
and you'll start to see some changes in the reduction of inflammation in the area, so that you'll really be encouraged to eventually strengthen it. You do want to keep in mind that at the beginning of an injury, you do want to rest it. You don't want to have to strengthen it or whatnot. Give it about 8 weeks or so before you actually go into the full-fledged strengthening of the muscles, because there is a certain level of inflammation that's still going on, and depending on how badly injured the knee is, you may have to wait longer, but definitely get some professional advice on that knee as well.
Take care of them. Cheers to your knees.
Yeah, cheers to the knees. Yeah, the last thing we want is issues with the knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my recommendation: standing postures. It may seem simple, but in itself, mountain pose is a balance pose. You can find that out by closing your eyes when you're standing.
Okay.
And you'll notice that your body will be shifting to keep you in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
We don't actually notice that when our eyes are open, because our body is constantly feeling our place in space, proprioception, right? We learned that in neuroscience.
Yes.
So yeah, the body is doing that constantly. When your eyes are open, you don't quite notice it, unless you have, vertigo issues or any other condition that takes you away from kind of quote unquote normal, move about for your vestibular system, for your balance. Then normally we don't notice those things.
Give me 3 things I can do to make the mountain pose most beneficial.
Even let's give it a try. Like if you try standing and then you lift your toes up, your feet can be comfortably about hip width apart or wider.
Okay.
And then you can lift your toes and you'll notice the arches of your feet lift.
Yeah.
And then keep the arches of the feet lifted, but let the toes land down lightly. Press into the big toe and you'll start to feel your thighs awaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now your thighs are strengthening, and not only are they strengthening, but they're also strengthening around the knee. You can press your heel a little deeper into the ground and your baby toe. So you'll start to feel like all 3 corners of your feet, or some people say 4 corners of the feet, because there are 2 spots behind the heel, the baby toe and the big toe, and you want those 4 points to connect. And as they're connecting deeper, your thighs are getting stronger. So you can see how it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
For the legs itself. And when you start doing a balance pose, you're actually shifting to one leg at a time. When you're bending the knee, in tree pose, you bring the knee out to the side. And your heel can rest into the shin, or the shin continues to press into the heel, but you don't want to put any pressure on the knee joint itself. So you can stay low and work on that first, and then go to the other side. Again, you want to root down the foot. Again, if it helps, you can lift the toes again, land them down lightly, and then shift the weight. And this is just for initial rehabilitation of the knee. And then you come back to center. So you can do that for about 5 breaths on each side. Okay. If you want to further challenge balance, for example, you could close your eyes while you do that. And you'll notice that you're going to constantly be, oh, whoa, especially if you have an injury to the ankle itself, it's going to
Okay.
be even more challenging. So
Yeah.
welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions from their mat? How often do you guys get to do yoga?
3 times a week.
3?
3 times
Yeah.
a week. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Are you a morning person? Do you do it in the morning before you go to work?
I take class with Brigitte Rivers Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it's 7 o'clock my time. And
Okay.
it's online through Zoom, which works
Okay,
very good. Yeah.
excellent.
Occasionally I go do in person, but with all the stuff going around, it's always nice to be
Yeah,
able to do it. Yeah. In the summer I try, but I get busy when I start working because I work seasonal work. And so I work 11 hours working, and then I have farm to run. And
you
so
have a farm?
yeah, farm. Yeah.
Where?
I live on a farm in New Brunswick.
New Brunswick. Yeah.
Oh, New Brunswick, excellent. I love New Brunswick.
I
Are you
moved-
close to Moncton?
5 years ago I moved here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, from Victoria, BC.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that's another beautiful spot.
Another
Yeah.
beautiful place.
Yeah,
You
but
guys-
expensive. You cannot afford
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
Very much. Yeah. I visited there once, Victoria. They have a great Chinatown there,
Yes.
little spot, the
Chinatown.
Chinatown, and they have a great little yoga studio in this lake. You go through this alleyway and you go through these doors and then you go in and there's this huge yoga studio inside. You're like, oh my goodness, I didn't expect this, you know? So it was
yeah,
quite interesting.
yeah.
I know Bridget Rivers. She went to one of my laughter yoga at the winery
Yeah.
events.
Talked
Quite a
about
few
that
years.
a lot.
Yeah, and I attend her class online as well. And
Mm-hmm.
she teaches out of New Brunswick. Let me see, Fredericton.
No,
No,
she's Florenceville.
Florenceville.
So
Okay.
it's on yeah, and I'm on the other side, about the same spot, but the other side of the river, closer to Maine.
Closer to me.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. So it's really close to the border. Yeah.
Yeah,
It kind of reminds me of when we were talking about habit formation, and you had suggested costume, and I love
Yes.
that because I'm actually taking that advice now,
Okay.
and just to kind of shift from like one style of work to another or to life, I change my shirt or I
Okay.
change my clothes altogether. So if I'm teaching a yoga class and I want to get out of like teaching mode and I want to come back to like housework or, you know, family life or whatever, I change into clothes that I might not necessarily wear at all for teaching a yoga class. So it helps me shift really quickly. And I'll give you an example today. I'm also part of a research group for thyroid cancer. And this team of experts, doctors from across the world, or not the world, the country, we all get together once a month on a Zoom call, and I take the notes and minutes, and I, you know, help organize them, all the docs and research assistants, stuff like that. And I was in this shirt for the that meeting, and then I had to teach a laughter yoga class right after that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to change my shirt into like a more like brightly colored shirt because that works for laughter yoga. And so almost immediately when I changed to this shirt, I got into that mode. And I also mentioned to the students, so that costume is just really good to not only be good for habit formation, but also good to shift us to doing something we want to like do, I guess.
Yeah. What
Quickly.
Helen's talking about is, I don't know if Helen's told you guys much about me. We went to school together, cut to 12 to 17 years later. Helen's a yoga teacher and I am working in healthcare. And I'll let you read my book when it's published, but some drama happened. And long story short, I wrote a book on minimalism. So my goal is to get rid of all this that you see around me. And it's not going well because my husband has an Amazon Prime account. So for 2 things that leave, 5 things come in. And so something happened. I wrote the book, and while reading the book, Mom got sick. And so I decided to switch the focus of the book into how happiness is determined by habits. So I'm always asking people for advice on what habits have contributed to your happiness. So Monique, I asked you about, are you a morning person? Is that how you're able to do yoga 3 times a week? And there are all these different strategies. And if you're interested, the book I got the most research value from is called Better Than Before. It's by Gretchen Rubin. And it's basically, I think there are 27 strategies for how to form a habit. And, habit of convenience, make it easy to do what you want. Or inconvenience, make it really difficult to reach the cookies. And then one is costume. So if you want to work out, there are people who actually sleep in their workout clothes. So that's where Helen's thing came from. So I hope someday when the book is published, you guys get a laugh out of it, because the book is supposed to be funny.
I always have a good time laughing with you. It just
yeah, I fell out of my tree again.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Tina and I go way back, the Dalhousie days when we studied neuroscience together. I was just talking to my laughter class today about how it's been over 20 years. So
is that right? It's a 20-year-old friendship?
It's been over 20 years because we finished, I think, in 99 together, but I graduated the following May. But yeah, we all finished our neuroscience in 99, I believe. So yeah.
Whew. Wow.
It's been 2 decades. Over
I know, imagine
just a smidge over.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Before we wrap up, does anyone have any advice on how to form habits? Helen had costume. I have, I think
you had costume. I had like stay low and not
the bar low.
The bar low, yeah. To two yoga classes a week, you'll get the benefit.
Okay. Anybody have any for me?
I need something, 3 things in order to make it a habit. Like I have to do it 3 times to make it kind of into a habit, or 3, 4, maybe 5. But the repetition really helps with me. Like if I miss a turn, like I'm like, oh, but if I really commit to saying, okay, I'm going to do this 3 times. And if I don't want to do it after 3, I gave it a shot. But like 3 is my magic number for some reason.
3 is the magic number.
Anyway,
we're gonna tattoo it somewhere.
No, that's such a good approach, because it's very common in a lot of disciplines. Like even with yoga and martial arts, things are done 3 times to bring it more effectiveness.
Okay.
The repetition is excellent. I'll definitely write that down in our description.
Okay, great. Thank you, Helen. Yeah.
So Monique and Wendy, because you guys came to the talk show today, I'm putting your names into the yoga audience giveaway box.
oh nice.
Local bakery, East Coast Bakery, who has agreed to give me a few gift certificates. I'm purchasing one, and Jerry Longergan, he's so generous. He's actually going to add a couple more to that. So I'll be doing more draws, like in the summer solstice, June 20th, as well as a $20 gift certificate for Wasabi House. They have 2 locations, one in Halifax, one in Sackville. And I'll give you a copy of the menu, takeout menu too. I love that place. And one of my favorite things to do, and in a way, it's like meditation. I'll go to Point Pleasant Park park my car there in front of the ocean, you know, in that lower parking area. And
Yes, I've made out there many times.
and like, I love food so much. So like, yeah, making out with my food and then really look out the ocean, and it really helps.
Perfect.
Like, it's so calming. So that's one activity I would recommend.
I think that's great.
And yeah. Maybe go for a walk after you've had your belly's full for some forest bathing, some walking about the Point Pleasant Park. I'd like drive up to the top parking lot and then walk around. So it's quite nice. We're so lucky to have that in Halifax. So,
nice.
Yeah. Good luck.
You ladies made my night. Yeah.
Yeah.
You made my night. Because remember how they used to have Shakespeare by the Sea?
Yes, I do. Alice in Wonderland was the last one I saw.
Oh, wow.
Vancouver, they have Shakespeare in the park in the summer. And I used to go every year. And I miss it.
Yeah.
Stanley Park?
Yeah, in Stanley Park. Yeah.
Wow.
Right there. And in Victoria, they did something similar. I was on a beach, one of the beaches. I do miss that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I used to work for a theater making costumes.
Wow.
And painting the scenes and stuff. And I do miss that bit. But,
wow, you have some amazing skills there, Monique. You're
I know.
a farmer and you also a costume maker. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Those are skills that, you know, us urbanites don't have a whole lot of, right? Like we can't even think of that sort of thing.
Amazing. That's awesome.
I have been weaver and spinner for many, many years. And,
really? Okay. Do you have sheep on your farm?
Weaving right now.
Oh my God.
Weaving right now. Oh, wow.
You have to multitask if you want to get things done, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
You could write a book on time management. You really could. And I will read it. And yeah.
You know, I know that this is something fairly new, a new project idea that Christina and I have had just recently. So this is really only our second episode. And what would you say the theme for this month's episode is?
I think give yourself wide margins.
Yeah.
Go easy on yourself. You know, like we're marking the 1 year of a pandemic. Just go easy. If you didn't bake sourdough bread, it's okay.
Go easy on yourself. Yeah. That's a great piece of advice and a great topic to keep in the front of our minds.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
Now that we're 1 year, officially yesterday we were 1 year into the pandemic. So all the best, everyone, and thank you so much
Helen,
for joining us.
Bye, ladies.
Bye,
nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.